Hello everyone, Zelrant here, and yesterday we took a look at the Girls Frontline tier list with all the updates they've had recently. But as we all can kind of know with tier lists, they only can tell you so much on specific units because it ultimately comes down to the synergy amongst the units. When building teams, sometimes you're going to be using units that they consider as tier 3 just simply because they fit the best with the synergy with, say, the tier 0 unit. And so that's why I like to use this website as well to kind of get an idea of what teams are being used. Now, this is designed by the YouTuber Nitrogen, which I'll put a link to their channel in the description. They make a lot of content on this stuff and Girls Frontline 2 as well. But for now, I just wanted to kind of look at some of the updates and changes they've had on it. One thing I noticed is that latest is based on, let's see, Laney. In global, it is based on Vector, so it is up to date with the latest updates in Girls Frontline 2. And so I thought we'd just take a look. And then it also has like the meta teams that are current meta within CN. I believe this is CN on here. And so it has 6 teams here that are listed. So let's just kind of take a look at this, and then we'll look at like the numbers on global and CN. So right now at the tippity top, they have the Burn team, which is ultimately, I think right now, the best of the single target damage dealing, which is probably the most important on Gunsmoke Frontline on CN. Especially like Sharky got her expansion key, and that just upped her dramatically because now she interacts with Vector's additional support actions. You have Shangju, which is doing the same thing with Vector. Senarisi's expansion key elevated her above Senia as kind of your sustain / support. And then you have Chawa as kind of the there's another one that it adds in. She adds in. I'm wondering if I don't believe she does burn damage with her support actions. But that's always something she could get with an expansion key in the future, making the team even better. But she's really good, especially at V6. And that's why I'll say she's like the best unit to borrow if you have anyone in your platoon that gets her to V6. Because she has I believe, I don't know if it's like a dot. I don't know if you call it a dot. But it has a debuff that you put on the enemy that stacks. And at V6, it can infinitely stack. And it can get like to insane levels where when it pops on the enemy's turn, I believe it's on the enemy's turn, it does insane damage. But at that V6, it's got a cap before that. I believe it has a cap before that. But really, really good. And then you always kind of have your flex character in here that they mentioned, which is Pari. I really like Pari, and that is mainly because she just makes it super easy to get all 6 of QJ support actions if you have a V1 Vector done, because she can go multiple times in a single turn. But right now she's not like the used character. This is like the main 5-team character team right here. I almost could say if you really don't need sustain, you could, I don't know if she would be better than Senarisi, but she fits right into this team quite well. But the least important would be Pari. Then you have right now the big Hydro Corrosion team, and this is why this team right here is why Xiaohui is not like a high priority team. It's also why, as we saw in the tier list, that Mishti is kind of falling down on the tier list. And that's because she's no longer in the hybrid corrosion hydro team. The hybrid corrosion hydro team is Klukai, Peridia, Nikita, Tololo, and Springfield. You get more damage out of Peridia than Mishti in this team. And so if you have both of them, which you almost certainly at this point in CN should have a Peridia, whether from a lost 50-50 or you can target her on the standard banner. And so you just get more out of her support action damage than you can get from the buffs that Mishti provides Klukai. And then you have, Nikita, Tololo, and Springfield together are insane damage. And Xiaohui just doesn't bring enough to that team that you can't get out of like a Klukai Peridia. Now, once we get the next big Hydro unit, and we maybe start seeing a mono Hydro team start forming, that very well could change. But it is why Xiaohui is going to be an easy skip for now for us on global. You have the Electric team, and this one's just kind of your standard. Andres, Lena, Leva, the main go-to team. And this is something I saw someone discussing in the comments, that Mosin Nagant actually surpasses, like as you can see here, Belka's falling off because Mosin Nagant is a standard unit, and apparently I really hadn't looked at Belka heavily yet. I was going to look at her more in depth once we get closer to her release. But Mosin Nagant at V4 and V6 surpasses Belka in value in the Electric team. And so if you're wanting to go heavy into Electric, one thing you may want to be looking at doing is investing in getting your Mosin Nagant up in her dupes, because she really wants that V4 at least. And then at V6, she is crazy good with the electric team. And then they're also moving into using Yuhi at V3 in the electric team to kind of be the electric support. I suspect Yuhi will fall off in this team once they get another support type unit that's more targeted towards electric. But for right now, a V3 Yuhi is the go-to in this team. And then you kind of have your fill-ins here. Klukai, of course, can go into any team. Look, they got Senia, Nemesis. Guessing just kind of support they can provide to it. And then Laney overall can fit. Like if you don't invest in your Mosin Nagant, Laney's a really good replacement in there. Pairs well with your Yuhi, especially if you have a V3 Yuhi. Throw in Laney. She's just going to add a lot of damage on her own because she's kind of a selfish physical damage dealer. So she doesn't really need much more than people that are buffing her, which is specifically what Yuhi does. And then you have like your core electric team, which is going to be Leva, Lena, and Andrus. So I do see that one being heavy use now. And Leva's pretty easy. I think her V1's good enough if you really want to make her a good damage dealer, unlike Klukai, who you really want at least V3 for a single target damage dealer. Then you got the Burn Hydro. Now we're getting to the teams that I haven't really looked at, so these are the ones kind of mix and matching good teams all on together. Burn Hydro, so you have the core of Burn right here with Vector and QJ. And then, yeah, I haven't really thought of that, but Tololo being able to do 3 actions in a single turn can really spur getting all of QJ's support actions out. So, yeah, that, I mean, I really hadn't thought about that team, but that is a great team as well. Your Sharkry, Sharkry's so good that, I mean, I won't be using this team at all because my Hydro will definitely be going with my Corrosion. But if you don't, like, if you want to skip her, and you don't want to invest in Sharkry, and you don't want to invest in Klukai or that, this is a good team altogether, because Tololo does 3 actions a turn, so that gets 3 of her support actions. You got Springfield to trigger 1, Nikita, I believe, triggers 1, and then you got Vector triggering them. So you can get all 6 of them quite easily on QJ with this team. So you get all the damage out of QJ. You got Vector providing for her, and then you have the core Hydro team. So actually, that is a really good team as well. And that is a really... other than, like, that's a really free-to-play friendly team in terms of how many pulls it really needs. The biggest thing you're going to want, though, is V1 Springfield and V1 Vector in this one. But that's pretty much it. I mean, Nikita, V0 is all she really needs to be top of the line. Tololo and QJ being on the standard banner. Easy to target them specifically with your standard tickets. And we've gotten plenty lately that people should, at this point, start seeing where they have, like, a V3 QJ, V2... Tololo, at least at this point, because those are the 2 main ones you should be targeting. Unless you're really wanting to invest in electric, then Mosin Nagant may be a higher priority to you. But if you're not going that direction, those are the easy ones to pick up there. Then we got the Freeze Hydro team. I mean, this is the thing with Hydro. Hydro is very plug and play in any team. You pick those. I mean, it's kind of weird that they're dropping Tololo here. I'd probably take a Tololo in this team over Dush. Is Dush really providing more than Tololo does in a hybrid team for this? That's kind of tricky there, but I can see this one working well because, I mean, Hydro can pair with anything. As long as you have Springfield, and the Springfield V1 with pretty much Nikita or Tololo or both of them can fit anywhere. They're just plug and play. Just like Klukai, Peridia, and Mishti can be plug and play in any hybrid team you really want. So, yeah, that's really easy right there. I mean, they don't mention the flex, but if you have a V6 Klukai, you can flex her in there just as easily. And then you have the full physical team, and this one's the kind of the funny one. I mean, you have Ulrid and Papashaw that can kind of flex in there, they say. But the funny thing is, QJ is a member of the physical team if you're wanting to fully build it, and she is really what kind of makes them stand out damage-wise. Laney does well, but not crazy enough. And so QJ is one of... I think QJ... I'd have to look at the numbers, but I'm pretty sure QJ out-damages Laney in the physical team. Now, as you know, with this team, you're having to take off the expansion key so that her attacks are not doing burn damage. You want them to do physical damage to take advantage of all the buffs. But this is overall a great team right now as well. The biggest problem, as you're seeing, is, well, your QJ you're going to want to use in your burn team. And so in this team, I mean, your burn team's just going to be so good that... That's why it's tricky with the physical team. So unless you're not unless you just like wanted to completely skip the burn team, like you don't want Vector, so you haven't pulled on Vector now, you don't care about Cinerisi, you're gonna skip her. You're going to skip Pari. You skip all the burn units. At least you can still get your value out of QJ if you want to invest in the physical team, because Yuhi's your favorite character, and you really like Lainey, and Diane, and Faye. And Faye's a standard unit that you'll be able to invest in when she comes out as well. We should get a free copy of her. That's what they did on the CN side. And so that is like the main meta teams at this point. So there's not too much crossover. As you can kind of see, you can, with the units we're getting, you'll be able to easily build 2 to 3 teams for Gunsmoke once we get the last kind of couple outstanding units. The biggest one being Springfield. She's going to be a big unit to help really put teams together. Springfield and Nikita, basically, will give us 2 core hybrid teams with Klukai and Peridia / Mish T. And then when you have the Hydro team, you can slot them anywhere. And the Burn team's already basically come online. We're going to get more units for the Burn team, but Vector basically has the Burn team online for us right now, making them top tier in damage. And we can probably see that when we look at the... Let's look at the global numbers of what is being in use right here. And you can see right off the bat, Klukai is still 100% usage on everybody voting here on their teams they're using in Gunsmoke Frontline. And that is because most people, I'm going to guess majority of these, are in a platoon, an active platoon that has a V6 Klukai. If they have a V6 Klukai, or even V3 in the platoon, you're pretty much always going to want to borrow her. Her damage is just that good that she's a borrow unit that you can throw in any team and she's going to do good. And that's why she's getting straight outright 100% usage. You got Macchiato, second most used. Still great damage dealer here. Vector's got less, you can say less usage, simply because she's only using the burn team. You're not going to be borrowing her, and she's just strictly burn team. Kind of same with QJ, and that's kind of how you're going to see the rest of these units. QJ's only burn team, Peridia's only pairing with Klukai, Senia's only in the burn team, Mish T's just pairing with Klukai. You have Sharkry, which pairs in the burn team. Suomi falling off a little bit here. Sustain's not as necessary on Gunsmoke anymore. She's kind of my... I use her in my last third team because I just auto it now in Gunsmoke. It still gets around 4,000 points still. But what's nice is Suomi just makes it so easy so you can auto it with you don't even have to worry. Cheetah, Senarisi, Dush. So the rest are just kind of falling off in their value. Tololo's really dropping off. That'll shoot right back up though once we get Springfield. And you can see the teams over here most used on global right now. So you have the Burn team here. Burn team with the Klukai in it. You have the second most used team, which looks to be Ice team with Klukai in it. Third most used is... So this is the Klukai team mixed with a Cheetah and Diane. Really? I haven't built my Cheetah at all here. So I've been slotting my Tololo into that team and having Diane in a separate team. Then again, I use Klukai in every team, but my team that I use my Mishti and Peridia in, I'm pretty sure I use Tololo and I forget who the other unit is. I have to kind of see how this one works out because I haven't thought of putting Diane in that team, but I have not invested heavily in Diane either. The only thing she really has going for her is me taking, using the weapon that I've built for, I believe, Tololos. I believe I just have her borrow Tololos. And while it has really good stats, it's not the right set for her. I haven't invested in the physical set yet. So that could be my reasoning. I do need to start building her. I did finally finish off my Vector. I got all my pieces for Vector. I haven't really even thought about Diane. I've actually started farming for Springfield's pieces. Maybe I should start working on getting Diane's pieces before farming for pieces for a unit that's not even out yet. Which is kind of funny because I've already gotten 2 of Springfield's pieces I need for her attachment. Let's see. Team 4. Yeah, just another This is Team 4 is the Klukai mixed with the Macchiato. And this is where it's kind of falling off because these are people saying what they're using. So, Klukai team mixed with Macchiato and Senia. Yeah, I mean, you're just getting the buffs from Senia and extra damage on a Macchiato there, which is nice. I mean, that's what you're probably going to see in the rest of these teams. A mix of the Corrosion team. Yeah, so Klukai, Mishti, Peridia, Macchiato. And so this is Cheetah instead of Senia. Yeah, so these are just all kind of hybrids here. Where is the Ice team? Where's the core Ice team right now? Like, Ice has fallen off quite a bit, where it's just like your pure ice team. All of these are like mixes of the Klukai teams. Here's like here's one that's using Colfine for some reason. 17 uses. And this is just because people still don't, if you're doing the 3 hits like I am, a lot of people probably don't have built teams of all SSRs. So they're still using the SR units, even though they're starting to fall off. You just have to use your built units. If they're built, leveled up, and all that, you just throw them in there. You just need somebody in that slot. And that's why you're seeing, like, Cheetah's still getting a lot of use. Sharkry's always going to get a lot of use, because everybody should be getting her built if you're building the burn team. Kind of same thing with Senia. Most people that don't have Cinerisi have built Senia, or even if you have Cinerisi, they've built Senia, so she's just a good fill-in unit. And a lot of people have built Cheetah, so I'm guessing that's why you're seeing her a lot of places. Here's your Macchiato. Man, the ice team is really low on this list. I don't even see them in the... A Dush. Okay, here's ice team right here. Not much use. It's team number 18. It's kind of tricky because you have so much mixes at this point. The biggest ones are the top ones, really. And that's why this one's really good on the CN side. But this one is only... They only have a meta teams for CN, I believe, because this includes all the CN units. But that was Global's current use. Let's look at CN's. And this is going to help you with deciding units that you may want to go over in the future. Springfield right at the tip top now. As you'll see here, Klukai's starting to fall off because I believe she's not a... This is the unit you always borrow anymore on CN. I think Springfield is a borrowed unit quite a bit too now. Let's see. And I mean, if you have like your Hydro team of Nikita V6 is really, really good as well. If anyone gets a V6 in their platoon, Tololo, everybody, the Hydro team, Tololo pairs so well. Like Hydro is the team right now on the CN side. And you're gonna see the top team is the hybrid Klukai mixed with that team. And then Mishti's not included in it. Instead, it's Peridia. I believe Team 2 is... Yeah, Team 2 doesn't have Nikita. Instead, it has Peridia and Mishti. And then Team 3 is... Okay, so that has Jahoy. Now, this one doesn't have that many votes. Not as many players playing on the CN side. Because this is all data from people voting for what they use. And you can kind of see on the numbers here, there's not as many votes on the team side here. So you have to kind of take this with a grain of salt. I think this one's a better indicator than this one. Yeah, because you can see it really... They start dropping off to like all the single-use teams where it's just like one person has said, I've used this team. So it's a little bit more shaky on this portion just because there's not as many people that are playing on the CN side. But it does kind of give you a good indicator of the best units. And the mix and match of Corrosion and Hydro are just that good. Yuhi's starting to get up there. I mean, in views. I mean, she's being used V3 with the electric, as well as in the physical team if you're building the physical. Let's kind of look at who's fallen off. I mean, Zhang Zhu. I mean, the fact that she's getting use, that's got to be... that's one use from 2 people. She's used in a electric team here, and realistically you want at least V3 on her to get anything out of her. And yeah, 2 electric teams there. Veple is completely fallen off. Cheetah, Alrid, Jahoy. I mean, Jahoy just doesn't get used because you're not doing mono Hydro. I feel like she'll go up in value once we get another support Hydro to pair to make the mono team work. Paris doesn't get much use. That's just because Burn team doesn't need her. Diane isn't really needed in your physical team. I think what I've seen is a lot of people are using a hybrid with the physical team. They're mixing them in. Mose and Nagant going up in value, though. That's one thing I thought Mose and Nagant with high dupes was going to be good. And it does look like it is. Yeah. And then you kind of see Mishti's falling off a little bit just because she's not being used in all the teams. So, hopefully this kind of helps. I mean, the biggest thing is on here, and I'll put a link to this in the description as well. You can kind of see who the core people of the teams are. So, like, Lena is a really good pickup. She's kind of core to the electric team now, paired with Leva. Andrus is very core to the electric team. Mosin Nagant, if you want to heavily invest in her, works well with them. And then a V3 Yuhi if you're wanting to go that direction. Now, the one thing I will say, this does let you know if you're wanting to go the electric direction, you can skip Yuhi for now. Yuhi comes out next, but we don't have any of these electric units, any of the core ones yet. And so that's at least 3 more banners we have to go through. And after that, Yuhi's going to rerun on that 4th banner, which means if we have all electric units back to back to back, so if we got an Andrus, Lena, and Leva, then you're going to have time to get Yuhi anyway when the team's complete. So skipping Yuhi right now is like a really good decision right now because you don't really have too much of a use for her unless you're heavily investing in Diane. Maybe you want to use a QJ, the support action deal. Until then, you pretty much can skip for now and then pull on reruns. Pull on a rerun for the electric team. Then you got, if you're wanting to invest in Hydro, mix with that. Springfield's going to be huge. She's the next Klukai when she comes out. And yeah, that's pretty much, I think, the biggest ones. Everything else just kind of revolves around the direction you want to go on your teams. If you want to invest in electric, those are units. If you want to skip them, skip all those units. Don't worry about Mosin Nagant. Don't worry about Yuhi. If you don't care about Hydro, which I think everybody should care about Hydro. It's such an easy team to build. You can skip those units to being core there. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I thought we'd just take a look at these to kind of look at some of the synergies so you can kind of see where a lot of the units are placing. Because you have units on here that are low. You see kind of low on the tier lists, but they are used in the synergies to an extent. So don't think that automatically means that they're bad. But yeah, that's pretty much it for now. If you like my content, if you could like, comment, and subscribe, it really helps. And thanks for watching.